Hey everybody, how's it going? So I figured I'd live stream again. We had a really good time in Tyler. I felt like live streaming because we haven't been doing the podcast in quite a while, and that's something we want to get back to doing. I've talked to some of you guys about it, and it's just one of those things. We've had time to do an episode here and there, but we haven't wanted to start until we feel like we could do it regularly. We want to at least be able to do one episode a month regularly without missing. But the reason we haven't started that yet is actually, it's actually kind of good news. We've just got really busy for 2018, and I'm not really sure what we're doing wrong or what we're doing right, but we have a lot of cool cases lined up, and that's talking about residential cases. We've got a lot of public cases coming up. We finished the Hood County Jail Museum just a little while ago, and I've been working on that episode for a while. And it's taken a while because there's a lot of evidence to go through. We did 2 trips, overnight trips out there, and we used like 8 cameras both times. And so, I have to go through all that footage, plus we have to put all the history in there, plus I'm reformatting the way we do our episodes. I'm really excited about the way we're going to try to start doing episodes, in that we used to do these really derivative reality show type episodes, like Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters or anything like that. But now that we're finding our footing as a paranormal team, we're trying to get away from doing what everybody else is doing. We don't investigate the same way everybody else investigates. We don't look at the same things everybody else does. We don't use our equipment the same way. So why should our episodes be the same, is kind of what I've been thinking. So our plan is to really try to focus on the people that are involved, to relay the stories of the experiences of the events that have happened around these people that call us out. Before, when we got started, we were having to find our own investigations. We were scouting out places that we kind of heard through the grapevine were haunted. These days, now that we have a little bit more of a reputation, people view us as somebody is credible, nowadays we get called to locations, which is a lot different than what we were doing before. Now, we still go out and we scout and we find cool places to check out. That's something that's never going to die. That's just a hobby of ours. But now it seems, I can't go more than 2, maybe 3 weeks without getting an email or a phone call about somebody that has either paranormal activity in their home or paranormal activity where they work or a place that they know of. So it's got a different feel to it, because it's not something we just randomly stumble into. It's places that have a history. It's places that have experiences that people had. And so those are the stories we want to get to, because I know looking at 45 minutes of nothing happening in our footage does not make for an entertaining video. So we're going to do a lot more interviews. We're going to do a lot more first-person accounts of what happened, and then cut down to the meat and potatoes of the investigation, which is going to be the things that we either debunk or explain right out, and we can show that, or it's going to be the inconclusive evidence, the things that could possibly be paranormal, because we know that's what you want to see. Cutting down to the interesting stuff and trying to make a more interesting episode, ironically, it's actually going to be a longer episode. I think we're going to go to an hour-long format, which means there's going to be a longer introduction where we're talking about the history and the background of the places that we're in. More photographs of what it looks like by day, more footage of us setting up and explaining what the experiments are, getting into the technical aspects of it. That's going to be followed up by interviews with all the witnesses that were on the scene, listening to the stories that they have. You're also going to have interviews with us that are post-investigation, like what were our thoughts on the investigation, things like that. And then we'll actually cut to lots of the footage that you guys want to see. And I know one of the big things that kind of set us apart from the rest, and it also hindered us in a way, was that we were showing you guys all the stuff in between, all the boring stuff. Of course, nobody really wanted to see it, but you couldn't argue that we were faking a lot of stuff because you could look at the raw footage. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to skip past that portion, give an interesting episode that's concise, 45 minutes to an hour. But at the end of each episode, what we'll do is provide links to specific portions of our website that are dedicated to all the raw footage and all the photographs and all the unedited evidence and interviews and stuff. Almost like a behind the scenes on the DVD, like all the extras that would come on a Blu-ray or whatever you order. And so you can still go back and watch all that stuff, and that transparency will still be there. So I'm really excited about kind of trying to do that in a new format. And along with that, along with going to a 45-minute to an hour-long format, after we get multiple episodes done and out there, one cool thing we can do is we're always going to be on YouTube and Facebook and things like that, but I think we'll move the format to a streaming service. We're looking at Amazon Prime for that. So if you have an Amazon Prime account, or if you don't, you'll be able to purchase the episodes or stream the episodes via Amazon Prime, and then we'll release everything in seasons, and I'm still in the brand. I'm still working on episode 1, so we'll see how it goes. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. So we're pretty excited about that. I mean, with everything that's going on, we're going to do this format change that focuses more on the people, more on the history, more on the locations, and less on just showing you an investigation and showing you these experiments that just take long and they're boring. Another thing we want to do is, once we get our schedule more set in stone, which, I mean, it's no secret, we all have day jobs. I mean, we don't make money at being paranormal investigators. A lot of people think we do, but we don't. We all work day jobs. That's why most of our investigations all happen on a Friday or a Saturday. They happen whenever our schedules will allow. And so things have let up for me quite a bit. I've had some changes at work, and some of the other members have had some changes at work where our schedules are different now. But after we get that kind of ironed out, on top of doing more investigations, we want to start the podcast back up. Now, before when we very first started the podcast, we were doing kind of like a pre-recorded format. And like the first 2 episodes, it was kind of fun, but we didn't really know what we were doing. And then, by the 3rd, 4th, 5th episode, we kind of hit our stride, and we were just doing them live. And that was a lot of fun because we were basically riffing off your commentary, right? I really enjoy that format. I think I'm going to go back to that format. I think when we do the podcast, we're going to try to do them live. But two things I'm thinking about doing is switching from the actual podcast format. Like, I didn't really like iTunes. We weren't getting much distribution off of it. I'm looking for comments and feedback on this video, guys. So, I mean, if you guys were listening to us on iTunes, let me know. If you guys were using YouTube more or Facebook more, let me know. My thoughts on it were, looking at the analytics, that we should probably do the main stream for the podcast on Facebook with a secondary stream on, with the main stream going out on YouTube and a secondary stream going out on Facebook. It'd just be a duplicate of the same thing, but it would be live. we're also trying to rethink what the format for the show could be. I think we were trying to do a little bit too much in too little of a time. Kind of like our investigations, I kind of want to strip it back. I want to do something a little more raw. One thing I really liked about our podcasts is that, well, I mean, at least I thought they were funny. You know, we weren't taking ourselves super seriously. And I mean, in our investigations, we do. I don't want to give the wrong idea. We take what we do very, very seriously. But with the podcasts, we were poking fun at ourselves. We were just being entertaining. We were cutting up. I mean, if you're going to watch an hour-long episode of us doing nothing but hunting ghosts and then tune in for a podcast, at least let's have a fun time. Let's have a fun discussion about it. I mean, we're not trying to be super analytical. I want to bring up some good topics and have some good discussions, but I also want to have a good time doing it. And I'm a cut-up. I mean, all I do is I make jokes. Sarah's pretty cynical. Allie's a cut-up too. But I think we're going to cut the podcast to just back to the roots of it, where it's just me, Allie, and Sarah. And we're just all going to talk about, we're going to pick like a topic for every episode, kind of talk about it, throw in like a little bit of current events, and from time to time have some guests on. And then the rest of the time will actually be depending on your comments, like the things that you want to hear, like you guys tuning in and opening up in the chat, and then we'll pick comments from that and roll with it. That seems to be what works. So hopefully pretty soon we'll go back to that. But like I said, we have some retooling to do. It's 2018 is pretty busy. I mean, so I talked a little bit about doing the jail investigation, but there's a few other things that happen. I mean, first of all, we published a book at the beginning of the year, and online sales for it have been up and down. I'm pretty happy with it, and I want to thank everybody that got a copy of it. The sales at the convention killed. I was a little bummed out at first because it was going pretty slow, and I knew it might pick up a little bit after I went on and did the discussion. Of course, Allie went up and helped me too. And I knew it'd pick up a little bit because I'd pick up one or two people that were interested in what we were talking about. But as soon as we were done talking, man, apparently there was a run on the table. Of course, I was off running my mouth like I normally do. But the girl said like at least 15, 20 people came up to the table and bought a copy of the book. I mean, here it is right here. Which I couldn't be happier. And I know plenty of people talk to me. And then, of course, we got a whole bunch of new members on the website after the con. So, and thank all you guys for signing up and asking questions and things like that. I couldn't be happier. It's really awesome. And I actually just did a revised edition of the book the other day. I made some cover tweaks and changed a little bit of the wording on the inside that was kind of confusing. It's the same thing though. If you already bought a hardback, I mean, it's not worth buying another copy. But that, and of course I wrote another book that I just published, which is actually an anthology of short stories that I wrote. They're fiction, it's horror, and it's right up the same alley. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with NTParanormal other than I wrote it. And the sales on that have been doing pretty good. So I've been pretty busy with that. We had the old jail museum. We have the Yates, and like I said, we got really busy in 2018 because immediately we got the Yates Duke cabin investigation, which is coming up. If you go to our events page, like you can look all these up, but we got the Yates Duke cabin coming up. We have a movie theater coming up that we're doing. It's the Texas Movie Bistro in Lake Worth. So we're doing an episode about that. There's a residential that's actually connected to that case. Some of the people that are involved in the Texas Movie Bistro case are asking us to come out and do it residential. Of course, we did the Hollywood Theater in Tyler. We were going to do the Hale House in Jefferson. Of course, I had to cancel at the last minute. I had some things come up in my personal life that I couldn't put down, so I didn't get to do that. But we would have been busy that week. And I just recently got called for a residential that like needed to happen really fast, and so it turns out we're doing that this weekend, Saturday. Now that's not an event. That's not a live stream thing. This is like a personal residential. Of course, you know, we might have some snippets on it in a video later or something, but it's a private event. And then another friend of mine just moved into a new house, and she says she's got some kind of activity going on, and so we've been called over to do that. There's a bridge in North Fort Worth that I just recently did a whole lot of research on. If you've been following along in the threads on our discussion board, you know that I went there, I took some pictures, got a story from one of the property managers there, and it turns out, and I found out today that the story is sort of accurate. Some of the stuff he told me actually happened, but it happened in a different way to different people. Normal urban legend stuff. There's just a lot going on, not to mention all the cons that we're actually doing appearances at. So I know in June we're going to be doing a big presentation at Arlington. Last year we did Arlington, and we kind of did like a little presentation at the side stage. This year they asked us to come to the main lecture hall and give like a big presentation, kind of like we did at Tyler. I think we'll be doing a little bit longer. Of course, Tyler gave me a chance to kind of retweak my presentation. Of course, I actually took the wrong PowerPoint with me. Go figure. And so we're doing the same thing there. Of course, we'll be running a table. We'll be selling our book. We'll be talking about cases that we've been on. You'll be able to come up and talk to us about any cases you might have, and just check out our equipment and talk science with us all day. In September, of course, we have the Granbury Paranormal Expo, which we always attend. We'll be at the same corner booth, but this year we won't be like one of the main speakers there. But in between the events that are going on there, we will actually be giving paranormal investigation classes, like little mini classes. Our first class is going to be like an introductory to paranormal investigation. The second one's going to be like more advanced EVP science. Like we'll show you, like we're always talking about spectral analysis of EVPs and isolating what frequency things are in. We're going to actually show people who are interested how to do that, like what software to buy, how to properly record things, load those into the system, and how to isolate frequencies and see what it is you're looking at. Then we're going to have another class a little bit later about our mono wavelength photography. It's another thing we've always talked about. And I mean, it's pretty easy, but we're going to talk about how to actually do that experiment, how to isolate the visible and invisible spectrums of light to do that experiment, and then like how to analyze the photos. Those sorts of things. We're actually going to start trying to get more into what it is we're doing, because we've really hit our stride, and we're starting to come out of our shells a little bit as kind of like public figure or like a group. Or I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's, I mean, things are changing for us, and we're pretty excited about it. It's just we have to make the time to do this. Some of these things are really time consuming. We have to make the time to do it. We have to do it properly. We have to make it look good. We have to make it entertaining. There's just a lot going on. But I've been doing a lot of website updates lately. I don't know if you guys have noticed. We updated our About page. We updated our services page. We've updated the way our social media feeds and all that sort of thing works. So everything's more accessible. We've actually kind of teamed up with a couple of other like online paranormal groups on social media that are bigger to ours to kind of help network. One of them, give a quick shout out to Paranormal Hauntings, because they published an article I wrote in their magazine this week, which I think was pretty cool. And they have a really cool board that kind of intersects with ours now. We kind of share news back and forth, things like that. They're really cool, and they're overseas from us. Of course, we're in the if you're watching, we're in the U.S. They're from the U.K. That's where their base is at. So there's just a lot of really cool stuff going on, and like I don't even know where to start at this point. So I guess this video is kind of just bear with us. I hope you like the new stuff that's coming out, and what we're really looking for is suggestions. Like, we have so much to do, and we need to start knocking it out as soon as possible in between actually investigating. So knowing what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear, your thoughts about what we're doing, our research, all that stuff. Feedback is king here, because the more feedback we get, we know what things to tackle first, and then we can improve and we can get better, and then we can give you what you want. So, well, I guess I'll wrap it up. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of update everybody. I'm probably going to cut another video right after this for a like a fundraiser, because there's some new equipment we want to get that nobody else in the paranormal field is actually doing right now, because we're actually moving towards, like I said, with our episodes, we're starting to focus more on the people and the stories. With our research, we're not just focusing on the physical activity. But before that was like what we were looking for was photographic evidence, video evidence, scientific evidence, things like that. But now we're starting to delve more into the people. So we're looking for psychological explanations, and that not in just the sense of like, we think people are crazy. We're specifically looking at a study where we're having people submit psychological profiles that we've designed to us, which, Sarah's trained in psychology, and we're comparing all that data, all those trends, to see if, the same types of people are experiencing the same types of phenomenon. And it's after cross-referencing, we could find out that possibly certain types of people are more prone to see paranormal activity, legit or not. And certain types of people are more prone to ignore paranormal activity, legitimate or otherwise. There's a lot of things going on there. The equipment I was talking about is we want to buy an EEG, which is, the brain scan, and then read that data off as we're introducing that person to stimuli, hopefully paranormal stimuli. And see how that makes the brain light up. Of course, we have our psychological studies coming up. We're doing more stuff with light frequencies. We're changing the way we do. Of course, mono wavelength has been really, really successful, and now we're kind of changing up the way that we do that to test some auxiliary hypothesis that go with that, because if you followed us for any length of time, you know that we did mono wavelength photography for a long time and basically debunked orbs for about 3 years and then found an anomaly. So now we're trying to reproduce that anomaly, figure out what the next step in the experimentation process is for that particular experiment, and move forward with that. We're constantly evolving. So I don't know how I got off on that. I know, because I'm going to make a video for the GoFundMe page for our EEG. But so yeah, I just wanted to kind of give everybody an update, let everybody know. I know we haven't got a new episode out in a while. I know we haven't done a podcast in a while. We've bailed on like the last 2 live investigations, and that was because the locations ended up being remote and we couldn't actually live broadcast. We live broadcast for a little while from Tyler, but the video quality was pretty bad because where we were at, there were such high EMFs from the projectors and everything, it was killing our Wi-Fi signal. So, I mean, we are active. We are trying to do stuff. We've just run into a bunch of hiccups, and we're really busy. And ironically, the reason we haven't been doing a whole lot of stuff online is because we have so much stuff to do online. So I'm really excited about 2018. I really hope by mid-year we have 2 or 3 episodes out. We've started to do podcasts again. We've got new equipment we're doing. That we're making more public appearances, that I've sold, that I'm the #1 bestseller in the paranormal category on Amazon. All those things. We're really excited, and we want you guys to be really excited, and we want to hear what is going to get you guys more excited, what we can do to cater to our audience, because you guys are the ones that make this happen. I mean, it's I know we don't really, I mean, I'm about to ask for donations for the equipment. In the past, we've tried to go without doing any kind of donations or fundraisers or anything like that. But now it's getting to the point where we're getting requests to do more stuff, and it's starting to cost us money. It's starting to hurt our pocketbook to do this anymore. So we're going to have to change the way we do things. So anyway, we want to hear from you. We really appreciate all the support you guys have given us over the past, God, it's been 5 years now. So, I don't know. Just keep watching, keep looking forward, and keep giving us your suggestions on what to do. And, you know, I'll see you real soon. Later.